So to start things off in 2022, we have a massive question mark before we can even get started building this roster for 2022. And that is what's going to happen to your coordinators. We're well aware of the many openings for head coaching positions. I believe there are 8, maybe 9. So a fourth of the league has an opening. That is crazy for the amount of head coaching positions open. However, what is extremely important that we have to realize is that there is a possibility that the Dallas Cowboys could lose both of their coordinators. They could lose just one. And so the question becomes, if we lose both, if we lose one, who would I like, who I think is going to get the positions, because knowing how this team is, we're going to go through all that. Okay, and, feel free to put in the comment section below what your suggestions would be to help the Cowboys, replace Dan Quinn or Kellen Moore if they leave. So with that, let's get into it with first a quick little reminder to like the video. If you could do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. Doesn't take too long to do, along with subscribing to the channel. Trying to hit 10K for this year, so if you could subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. And on top of that, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on new content when it drops. Now, to start things off, we first need to kind of give a review of how the coordinators did, their likelihood of leaving, and, what should we do to replace them. So we'll start off on the offensive side of the ball, since that's pretty much the biggest question mark, Kellen Moore. So Kellen Moore has been offensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys for now 3 seasons. 2019 had his coming out party where, it looked like that he was going to help take this Cowboys offense to a whole nother level, which, statistically, that was the case, but situational awareness was still a problem. And so there was a question of, was it Jason Garrett that was the problem? Was he, getting his grubby hands on things and stuff like that? And then you kind of go into 2020 and 2021, and, with Mike McCarthy coming in, they're like, okay, let's keep Kellen Moore. And you're like, I don't know about this. And some people were like, that's a good move. Some people said it was a bad move. And so we were kind of like, let's wait and see. So 2020, lost year. We can see that. But then you go into 2021, and really the same issues that persisted in the 2019 season, along with some parts of the 2020 season, really showed their ugly head towards the end of the year. Kellen Moore would start off fast with all these crazy gimmick plays and special stuff to help the offense move, and then after we hit the halfway point in the season, it looked as if everything became stagnant. And specifically when you went up against better teams, it felt like they weren't game planning or preparing for these games. They're just kind of going in, okay, here are the plays, we're going to run these stupid things here and there, but it didn't feel like we were ready, we were prepared offensively. And I'm not going to get into a conversation about the players. This is more so about the coordinators. Obviously the players do play a part in that, but I don't believe that if you as a offensive coordinator cannot scheme these weapons and players that you have, and you still have these issues going forward, I think that you might be part of the problem. And so another thing being is that he is from that Jason Garrett, Scott Linehan breed of offense. And so Dallas has really kept the same type of offense for the past 15 years now, and it's not really helping. So he has interviewed for a couple jobs. I know there was mutual interest between him and the Vikings. He interviewed for, I believe, the Dolphins and the Broncos as well. So we'll see if he gets one of those jobs. I would not be shocked if he got the Vikings job, but we'll see. Now, who could possibly replace them? So there's always the in-house option, which I think the Cowboys will go that way. And so you have 2 guys on this list that I wrote down. Doug Newsomer, your QB coach, and Ben McAdoo. Now, Doug Newsomer, I believe he was another leftover from the Jason Garrett era. I have tried to look for any information but I just feel like, I don't know what you would get from him. And on top of that, the whole stench of this old administration that we have still in Jason Garrett, I feel like you need to really clear the room out because that ain't helping. you know. And then you have Ben McAdoo, and so with Ben McAdoo, he has been known to help Eli Manning have one of the best statistical years in the regular season of his career in 2015, and that head coaching position. Now, um, I would say that it's a question mark for what you're going to get from him if he can scheme and stuff like that, and there really isn't a whole lot to go off of there, especially with how he would interact in a Cowboys setting. So I am against going in-house. I think that the Cowboys, if they were to, and Ben McAdoo's interviewing for the OC job in whatchamacallit, in Carolina. So I think when you look at that, I want to see if Ben McAdoo is going to do if he does become your offensive coordinator, like what does he bring to the table? But if I were to put my money on it, I think that Doug Newsomer would be the next OC for the Cowboys. But if Mike McCarthy had his imprint, I'm thinking it's going to be Ben McAdoo because there was a reason he was brought. I felt like he was like the OC in waiting. I said that during the season, so that could be a possibility. But there are two guys that I have in mind that I have been looking at for a while. They come from different organizations. Ken Dorsey, Bills QB coach, and Mike Kafka, also a QB coach with the Chiefs. The reason I really like these two is because they have definitely helped in the development of their quarterbacks. Mike Kafka has helped with the development of Patrick Mahomes into one of the top quarterbacks in the league, along with Ken Dorsey with Josh Allen, and I think it was with Cam Newton as well in both of their prime both the prime settings for both those quarterbacks. So for me, that tells me, okay, we're getting a guy that knows how to work with the quarterback and make him the best that he can be. Now, I personally felt like you need a QB coach that can push Dak, and I think that's what John Kitna was doing. And we were seeing massive strides with Dak Prescott from 2018 to 2019, and I felt like it's now a mistake to move on from him. So the way I look at it is that those are the guys I'm looking at. I think that they can be very creative. They come from offense, especially if you get Mike Kafka coming from the Andy Reid coaching tree. I think that would be great. Ken Dorsey, not he coming from the Sean McDermott route, but I think that you'd be getting good coordinators there. I believe they know how to. I think they would know how to scheme. They know how to work with the best of the best, and I think I would lean more so with Ken Dorsey because of his track record. So that's who I would want: Ken Dorsey, Bills QB coach. But I do think Kellen Moore is staying. Then you go to defensive coordinator. Now, as for the defensive coordinator position, you have two in-house options along with a couple of guys that are on the table. So Joe Witt Jr. and George Edwards. For me, I think that George Edwards would be that veteran guy in the room where he can help these younger guys. And Joe Witt Jr. has commanded a lot of respect. I think he just got interviewed by the Seattle Seahawks for their defensive coordinator position. And, again, I'm not the biggest fan for in-house options, but on defense, I'm a little bit more comfortable. I think that if you were to go with a Joe Witt Jr. or George Edwards, that would be satisfactory, but I would prefer someone like a Brian Flores, a Vic Fangio, or a Mike Zimmer. There could be a strong possibility that you could get one of these guys, and I think that should be the route you go. I think that, getting these guys that were defensive coordinators and good jobs, I would love for Dan Quinn to stay, but I think he is gone. I think he's going to go to Denver, and it sucks to say that because I really do like Dan Quinn. He has done a much better, impactful job because he is able to scheme properly and go against what the offense has given them. I feel like that's where I'm getting at with Dan Quinn. He knows how to scheme, but with the offensive side of the ball, they can't. So I would say for my pick out of the bunch, I would probably be looking at Vic Fangio or Brian Flores, guys that can, run, I want to kind of go with the young, with the Brian. I want to go with Brian Flores or Vic Fangio there. But I think that my prediction would be if Dan Quinn leaves, probably George Edwards. Assuming Joe Witt Jr. does not stay, I think it's probably going to be Joe Witt Jr. But George Edwards, I'm thinking because Joe Witt might leave. So, those are my picks for offensive and defensive coordinator. Now, the biggest problem is going to be with the front office and how they approach this. I think that if you and the Cowboys don't go out of house. They usually promote from within. They have yet to really prove to me that they're willing to go out and get some. Aside from the Dan Quinn hiring, which I think was like a no-brainer at that point, but if I feel like if the Cowboys want to give me some hope, you go get one of these guys that can come in and can really scheme. Now we'll see if it's a lame duck season for Mike McCarthy, because I know that's been being floated around. But for me, he has earned the right to coach another season. I think that going 12-5, yes, you lost in the playoffs, and we're gonna do a head coaching watch for next year in the next video. But I think those are the types of guys that I'm looking for at the coordinator positions. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. If you guys, well, first off, thank you so much for reaching the end of the video. You guys are the real MVP for doing that. If you could like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, that would be awesome if you can do that on the way out. And if you have any ideas on who you would want to be the coordinators for this team, put them down below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye-bye.